Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Today I am here to talk to you about 6 books I read recently. These are all the books I read back in March, but it is a little bit late for March wrap-up, which is why I am calling this video Recent Reads. I know 6 books is not a lot compared to a lot of other people on BookTube, but I did have a really good reading month, especially because I ended up really loving all of these books, so I am really excited to share them with you today. The first book I'll talk about is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. It follows a girl named Olive whose twin sister is getting married, and she manages to win her entire wedding and her honeymoon for free from like coupons and contests online. But everyone at this wedding ends up eating some bad shellfish and gets food poisoning, except for Olive and this one guy named Ethan whom she hates. So her twin sister asks the two of them to go on her free honeymoon for her because she doesn't want to waste this like free vacation. And so the two of them go on this honeymoon and they hate each other and eventually they end up together. So I thought it was a very cute concept and I read it and it was very cute. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it, but I wouldn't say it was anything too extraordinary because an enemies to lovers trope in contemporary romance seems a bit laughable to me, to be honest, because the stakes are not high enough for an enemies to lovers, I don't think. Also, I think their transition from being enemies to lovers happened a bit too quickly, in my opinion. She just suddenly realized that he was hot and then boom, they're together. I also did not appreciate that the catalyst in their relationship was like a drunk confession. Overall, it was cute and I really enjoyed it, but I would not say that it's one of my favorite reads. It was a really fun, lighthearted read and it's perfect for summertime. The next book I'll talk about is The Bromance Bookclub by Lissa K. Adams. I love this book, 5 out of 5 stars. It was so funny and so much fun to read. It's about a professional baseball player named Gavin whose marriage is in trouble, so he joins this book club that is filled with other macho men who basically read romance novels and give each other advice on how to be better husbands and boyfriends to their significant others. So much fun. Like, so funny. I really liked this book because it was fun and lighthearted, but it still talked about a lot of serious topics, and it didn't really romanticize any of these topics to make them seem less serious than they were, which made the characters seem real instead of just like characters in romance novels who have like everything going for them. The scenes, including the book club men, were hilarious and some of my favorite scenes in this book. Overall, really liked it, really glad I read it, and highly recommend it. The next book I'll talk about, which I absolutely loved as well, was House of Holo by Crystal Sutherland. This book follows 3 sisters who had all gone missing when they were children. They show up again a month after they went missing unharmed, but no one knows where they went, no one knows what happened to them, even they themselves don't really remember what happened. Years later, when they're older, the oldest sister, Gray, goes missing again. The other 2 sisters are trying to find her again, but they find out that she has been keeping some really dark and dangerous secret from them all along. This book is hauntingly beautiful and morbidly fascinating. It told a dark and twisted story that had me hooked from literally the first sentence. And after I finished this book, I could not stop thinking about it. I seriously hope there is a sequel because that ending, I was in shambles. The writing style was really beautiful and atmospheric. I really liked it. And the imagery. I could literally smell the rot of the forest while I was reading this book. Truly amazing. This is the type of book that I want to see turned into a movie, but like a good high budget movie because
chills, literal chills.
Highly recommend it as well. The next book I'll talk about is Bunny. This was the strangest book I have ever read in my entire life. I don't know if I loved it or I hated it, but I still gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It follows a woman named Samantha who is part of this highly selective writing program at this university in New England. For her program, she has to take part in this writing workshop and there are 4 other women in it. These 4 women go everywhere together, they do everything together, and they are like a little cult, basically. And over the course of the year, they bring Samantha into their little group, and it's all very strange. I have never felt more disoriented than I was while I was reading this book. There was not a single paragraph that I read without asking myself, excuse me, but what the hell is going on? This story is 100% an allegory for something. I'm pretty sure everything in this book symbolizes something else. There's quite a bit of social commentary in here as well, and it definitely has a pretentious book vibe going on, but I don't know if it's genuinely pretentious or if it's satire. Overall, it was a wild ride, but I did enjoy it, so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book, which I absolutely loved, was The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Oh, this is easily one of my favorite reads of the year. Not that I've read that many books this year, but so good. I love this book so much. This book is about a man named Linus Baker who works as a caseworker at the department in charge of magical youth. He gets sent on this highly classified assignment to this remote island where 6 apparently dangerous children live. And Linus has to put aside his fears and differences to figure out if these children will or will not bring about the end of days. When Linus finally gets to this island, he meets the caretaker Arthur, and he finds that Arthur and the 6 children are this really tight-knit family. It's all very cute. This book is truly one of the best examples of a found family trope. Absolutely loved it. The writing was so beautiful. Linus started out as this very stiff, uptight person, but you see him kind of let go of his inhibitions throughout the book, and it's so good. The character development is top notch. Definitely one of the best reads of this year. And last, but definitely not the least, I think I have found my new favorite book. Guys, I actually think that this is my new favorite book. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This book is about stories. It's about a boy named Zachary Ezra Rollins who one day is looking through the library and he finds this very mysterious book. So he checks it out, he goes back to his room and starts reading it, and he finds out that it's about him. The things he's reading are things that happened to him in his childhood. So he's obviously flabbergasted, and then he follows a series of clues to figure out what's going on. Why is there a book about him that was published before he was even born? I am speechless, truly speechless, because I did not expect to love this book as much as I did, because I was not that big a fan of The Night Circus. I thought The Night Circus was beautifully written and it was amazing, but I still was not very connected to the characters themselves, so I just wasn't into it because I am a very character-driven reader. And I went into this book expecting the same thing. I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be my favorite thing ever. But I kid you not, this book swept me away before I could even make heads or tails of what was even going on in it. I still can't say that I know what went on in this book, but whatever it was, I liked it. I loved the way the story was told. The character was part of something bigger than just himself. And reading this book made me feel like maybe I can be part of something bigger than just myself too, the world's a big place. In this book, we follow different stories and different characters, and the story of fate and time was so beautiful. This book is about how some things must end to mean something, but that all endings are beginnings and all beginnings are endings. And I love how all these abstract concepts mesh together in this book. And there is a plot, if you look for it, but the plot isn't really the point of the book, because I think overall this book is more of an introspective book, and the more meaning you draw from it, the more beautiful this book might seem to you. I feel like it's also one of those books that you have to read at the right time, because if I had read this book I don't know, a couple years ago, I would have not liked it at all. It definitely has become one of my favorite books, and I am so glad I read it. I picked it up on a whim, and I was not planning on reading it at all, but I'm so glad I did. Honestly, March was a solid reading month for me, and I'm so glad I liked all of the books I read. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought about them if you have read them. Also, let me know what is one book you really liked that you read recently, because I am always looking for book recommendations. Anyway, my name is Ishi. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope your day is as wonderful as you are.